Okay, so a couple things I haven't mentioned is if I go to the 3D and shade it, something sometimes good to do is that the roof on top of the atrium actually doesn't finish in a proper material. So I'm just going to create another finished material, edit, and here in the top, insert, make another finished material, number 5, and make it like copper or something. Copper does not have a surface pattern, so you could just add it if you want, and you can go to a more interesting, like vertical lines, for example. Okay, and it must have a thickness, so you can give it like a 1-inch thickness base. So problem, I changed the type, and all these roofs had the same type, so it doesn't make sense to do that. So I'm going to Ctrl+C. I should select this one and edit the type and first duplicate as clearly as. Then you could say copper or roof, and then you say edit, and here yes, make this copper. 1 inch. You could change the pattern for that one again, as I said, so you could have, I don't know, let's see, vertical lines. It's telling me it has to be a finished floor. Okay. If it takes time, it's because all these trusses have to be shifted since the dimension of the roof is changing. Good. So if we go to shade and hidden line, we get this nice line drawing, so we can understand this as a copper roof now. Good. Let's continue with where we were. We have to create a storefront glass panel there, so let's actually do that very fast. First thing, there's a curtain wall from the atrium going through the gym entirely, so we have to actually cut that. If we go to the second floor, we're going to see that quite clear. Let me go to the second floor composite. See, this is actually the curtain wall being inserted into the gym. So what you can do is what I did before, is split it out. You can split that one. Let's see, split. And now select it and drag it down. You can split again, or you can select and drag it all the way to here. Okay, that means obviously that in section we're going to have to deal a little bit with what happens here in the top. So if I go to shade it, this side is under control, but there's no glass there. So what you will probably need to do is go to the level of the gym roof and create another curtain wall on top. Okay. But now we have fixed at least the interior space. So let's go to the first floor composite and create that like a storefront glass here. So if we do a wall, we can create a storefront. First thing I always recommend is duplicating. So it's a storefront gym, for example. Let's just say OK and place it where we think it should be, which is here. It has to go all the way to the end. And there. As you can see, we could have placed an offset or just now moving it. to detach it from the stair precisely. If we go to the camera that we just did before, I think it was view 3, I'm going to see that properly set. That's a view. I could select from the perspective, the different elements. You can select, in a difficult way, you can select actually the entire storefront because it wants to select individual mullions of the storefront. So to select the whole thing, you just tab and select it, and then you get that, so you can edit the type and change the parameters here that we're going to see in a second. But first of all, that I again did this idea mistake intentionally is if I go to the 3D, we obviously have a problem with the top relationship of the storefront. So I'm going to select the storefront and make sure that the top constraint is not the top of the parapet, but the bottom of the gym roof. Here it is. It's going to come down. There we go. Now, a good thing that we probably want to do is go to the main section. So I'm going to go to the first floor, click on sections here, and see if this is aligned properly to the roof, which it is. Good. So I can go back to the camera and see how that is looking. And there it is. Right now, it's a little bit messy. So again, you can press tab to select the whole thing and edit the type and change some parameters. For example, you can set how many vertical grids you have. These are the vertical grids, and they always have a mullion associated. So you can set it to be, instead of a maximum spacing, you can say fixed number. Okay, fixed number. Say apply and see what happens. What number will that be? If you say fixed number, you can set the number here in the properties panel directly. So the number is actually vertical 20. So I can set this to 30. You'll have many more, or to any other number for that matter. And you can set the horizontal grid to be, for example, 3. So we're going to keep it quite clean. I think it's a little bit too much, obviously, with 30. So let's say 15, for example. Because we're going to have a couple of doors here. Actually, let's say 20. A couple of doors so you can exit to the stair and then come out. And there will be an exterior door in the lower level for evacuation purposes. Okay. A couple of things that are good to notice that now you can also tap to select the whole thing, or tap to select the panel inside. So again, we can select the mullion, we can select the entire, let me see where it is there, the entire curtain wall, or you can start tabbing to select the panels inside. When you tap and select the panels, you see how it gives you different type of, say, system panel glaze. So we're going to be able to select afterwards, instead of a panel, give me actually a door. We'll actually do it later, okay, in the next class. So if we select the entire thing, we also have other types to be able to place. For example, what about the type of the mullions? Right now they're too big. What if the vertical mullions are different from the horizontal? So you can say, give me an inch square vertical mullions, and I want thicker, like 2.5 by 5 rectangular horizontal ones. So it has an elegance vertically and a more strong kind of a quality of horizontally speaking. Start getting these differences. So good. Save that. I'm going to create a couple of partitions here, not very difficult. So let's go to the first floor or the second floor composite. And those are pretty much around here. I do have a underlay that I'm not interested in having at the moment, so I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to say walls, And I'm going to go to my partition types that I just created before. Choose the Building Tech 3 2-hour rating. And I could create partitions. Oh, this is the one-sided? I think so. Sure. And you go down. I'm going to go to Find View. We're going to tweak this by moving properly so it really relates to the columns properly. This comes to the wall. This one comes to the wall as well. We could copy this one here. And you could change the shaft and place the elevator at this very moment. So you could enter from the exterior. We'll do that later on, and go from the atrium up to the exterior and then enter the space. You don't have to think about how the circulation is because we'll do that next class. But I think it's good to start thinking how the elevator will be placed at this point. So I'm going to do a mirror here to the center axis, so we have also those. I'm going to select all these partitions by pressing Control and copy, paste to line levels, and I'm going to use the first floor because we're in the second floor. But I'm going to go down, actually create another section. And let's see how this looks. Let's go to Find View. Looks good. Looks good. This is partition that goes up there. So probably we actually need to go to the 3D and start chopping this. By the way, we don't need these guys anymore, so we can delete that. Chopping means obviously section box, which is extremely valuable from Revit, so I recommend you guys use it as much as you can. So I could come here, section box, to see what's happening in that interior space. So there's a problem. We can select these partitions and actually go the top constraint, make it the gym roof. It goes all the way to the top. This partitions, tap, select gym roof. So they go upwards. And there's going to be an exterior. We're going to change this floor. Next class, we're going to make a stair here in the middle. We're going to make another stair connecting to the top mezzanine. The opening is going to be here in the top floor and in the bottom in relation to that stair. So there's still many ingredients that we're going to be placing next class. There's obviously a couple doors separating the mezzanine of the atrium with the lab. There's obviously facades that we have to deal with. So that's actually what's happening in the next 2 weeks. A little bit of stairs, communication, and more about details like doors, and obviously the system of facades, which we're gonna finish is with the facades properly. Okay. Remember that before you do the copy and paste, that you have one floor entirely organized. I would recommend placing the elevator. So go to Blackboard, place the elevator, and make sure that you use these parameters that I've placed here. Very simple from the properties panel. Change those to the dimensions that we have between floors, and try to break down your basement floor and create another level here to take down the basement floor and be able to incorporate the elevator property. This regards to the creation of the stairs, so just call outs in the plans, and then you start placing all the call outs as plans in the sheet, and then you just place one section that explains the stair property.